Dr. Illa's crystalline hands trembled as the emergency alert flashed across every screen in the medical bay. Red lights painted the sterile walls in angry strokes while a mechanical voice repeated the same warning over and over. Incoming emergency. Priority level critical. Prepare for dangerous cargo. She adjusted her optical sensors and tried to calm the vibrations running through her transparent body. Beside her, Dr. Breen's containment suit shifted from its usual calm blue to an anxious yellow. The gaseous mither inside swirled faster than normal, colors bleeding into each other like watercolors in rain. What kind of emergency requires this much security? Dr. Neva asked, her six-scaled arms already pulling medical equipment from the sterile cabinets. The Scalian's reptilian face showed concern, her forked tongue flicking out to taste the air. Dr. Illa pulled up the incoming message on the holographic display. Her optical sensors widened as she read. It says here that a human vessel is requesting emergency medical assistance. The patient is described as a large predator from Earth, critically injured, extreme danger to station personnel. The three doctors looked at each other. Earth, the Deathworld. Everyone in the galaxy knew about that terrifying planet where everything tried to kill everything else. Gravity almost twice the galactic standard, atmospheric pressure that would crush most species, weather that switched from freezing to boiling without warning, and the creatures that lived there had evolved to survive all of it. I'm calling for security backup, Dr. Neva said, her voice steady despite her scales standing on end. Already done, replied the station commander through the intercom. His voice sounded tense. We're sending armed guards to the medical bay. Whatever the humans are bringing, we need to be prepared. Last time a human brought a pet to the station, we had to evacuate 3 entire sectors. Dr. Breen's suit flashed orange with worry. Through his translator, his voice came out thin and high. What kind of species keeps predators as pets? It's unnatural. Dr. Illa had studied human psychology briefly during her medical training. The files had been disturbing. Humans bonded with other species, even dangerous ones. They called these creatures companions and treated them like family members. The concept made no sense to her logical Valorian mind. Why would anyone willingly bring a predator into their living space? Heavy footsteps echoed in the corridor outside. 6 security officers marched into the medical bay, weapons powered and ready. They took positions around the room, their multiple eyes and sensor arrays tracking every entrance. The atmosphere grew thick with tension. A few minutes later, a human woman walked through the main doors. She looked completely relaxed, almost casual, wearing simple clothing that was covered in strange golden brown fur. Her hair was pulled back in a messy arrangement and she carried a worn bag over one shoulder. Hi there, she said with a smile that showed her flat omnivore teeth. I'm Lucy. Thank you so much for agreeing to see us on such short notice. Bruno had an accident on our last planetary stop and his leg is getting worse. I'm really worried about him. Dr. Illa's translator struggled with some of the words. Bruno must be the predator's name. The phrase really worried came through clearly enough, though. This human seemed genuinely concerned about the dangerous creature she had brought aboard. Ms. Lucy, Dr. Illa said, trying to keep her voice professional. We need you to understand that this station has strict safety protocols. We've prepared our most secure treatment room. Our security team will remain present during all procedures. We need you to provide us with complete information about this predator's capabilities. Lucy's expression shifted to confusion. Capabilities? He's hurt. He can barely walk. Look, I know Bruno seems scary to other species, but I promise you, he's the sweetest thing in the galaxy. He wouldn't hurt anyone. Dr. Breen's suit flashed red with alarm. Humans always say that about their predators. Right before those predators attack. That's not fair, Lucy protested. You don't even know him. The main cargo doors hissed open, and a massive reinforced container rolled into the medical bay on an automated cart. The container was easily 3 meters long and 2 meters wide, built from thick metal with ventilation slots along the sides. Bright yellow warning labels covered every surface. Live animal. Handle with care, dangerous species. Approach with caution. Dr. Neva's 6 arms flexed nervously as her medical scanner swept over the container. I'm detecting one life form inside. Mass approximately 85 kilograms. Elevated heart rate. Elevated stress hormones. Body temperature above normal range. She paused, her scales rippling with fear. I'm also detecting significant muscle mass. Bone density consistent with a pursuit predator. And something else. Her voice dropped lower. Teeth, very large teeth. From inside the container came a deep rumbling sound. Not quite a growl, but close. Something was breathing in there, heavy and labored. Then came another sound, sharp and scraping, claws against metal. Every security officer raised their weapons. Dr. Illa felt her crystalline structure begin to resonate with fear. Dr. Breen's entire suit turned dark purple. Lucy rushed forward, placing her hands on the container. "It's okay, buddy," she said softly. "We're here now. These people are going to help you feel better." "Step away from the container," one security officer ordered. "He's scared," Lucy said, not moving. "He doesn't understand what's happening. Please, just let me open it. Let me show you that he's not dangerous." Dr. Illa made a decision. They were doctors. Fear couldn't stop them from helping a patient no matter how terrifying. "Open the container, but do it slowly, and everyone stay alert." Lucy nodded and pressed her hand against the container's lock panel. It recognized her biometric signature and began to disengage. The locks clicked open one by one. Pressurized air hissed out through the seals. The front panel started to slide upward. Through the growing gap, two eyes appeared. They glowed yellow in the medical bay's bright lights, reflecting like mirrors. Predator eyes. Hunter eyes. Eyes that could see in darkness and track prey across vast distances. The panel lifted higher. A pointed ear became visible, then another. A dark nose, wet and glistening. And then, as the container fully opened, they saw the teeth. Rows of white fangs designed for tearing meat from bone. The creature stepped forward into the light, and Dr. Illa got her first full look at the thing humans called a dog. The creature limped out of the container, and every instinct in Dr. Illa's body screamed danger. It was covered in thick golden brown fur that rippled over heavy muscles. 4 legs supported a powerful body built for running and jumping. Its tail hung low, swaying slightly. But what held her attention were those jaws. Even partially open, she could count dozens of teeth designed by evolution to grip and tear. Bruno took another step and whimpered. His right rear leg barely touched the ground, and dark stains matted the fur around it. Blood. The predator was definitely injured. Dr. Neva's scanners beeped urgently. Compound fracture of the rear limb. Deep tissue damage. Signs of infection. Blood pressure dropping. If we don't treat this soon, he could go into shock. The security officers maintained their positions, weapons tracking the dog's every movement. Bruno's ears swiveled toward them, and he made a low sound in his throat. Not quite a growl, but close enough to make everyone tense. Lucy moved without hesitation, kneeling beside Bruno and placing her hands on his head. "Shh, it's okay, baby. You're safe now. These people are going to make your leg feel better." Dr. Breen's containment suit swirled with confused colors. Purple and yellow mixed together in patterns that indicated he couldn't process what he was seeing. A human, completely vulnerable, crouching beside a predator that outweighed her by at least 30 kilograms. And the predator wasn't attacking. "Ms. Lucy, please step away from the patient," Dr. Illa said, trying to keep her voice calm and professional. "We need to assess the threat level before we can begin treatment." "Threat level?" Lucy looked up, her expression turning frustrated. "There is no threat. This is Bruno. He's my friend, my family. He needs help, and you're all standing around pointing weapons at him." Dr. Neva extended one of her surgical arms, the mechanical limb stretching across the distance to scan Bruno more closely. The dog's head snapped toward the movement, and his lips pulled back slightly, revealing even more teeth. A warning, everyone froze. "Easy, Bruno," Lucy said, scratching behind his ears. "It's okay. She's just trying to help." Incredibly, the predator relaxed. His ears moved forward again, and his mouth closed. He leaned into Lucy's touch, making a small sound that Dr. Illa's translator interpreted as contentment. Dr. Breen floated closer, his scientific curiosity starting to overcome his fear. "I'm analyzing his biochemistry now. Carbon-based life form, iron-based hemoglobin, protein structures similar to other Earth predators. His bite force is estimated at over 140 kilograms per square centimeter. A single bite could remove limbs from most species in this room." "He's not going to bite anyone," Lucy insisted. "Look, I know you have records about Earth animals. I know you've probably read about wolves and wild dogs and hunting packs. But Bruno isn't wild. Humans have lived with dogs for thousands of years. We evolved together. They protect us, we protect them." Dr. Illa accessed the Earth database through her neural interface. Information flooded into her consciousness. Canis familiaris, domesticated subspecies of Canis lupus. Pack hunters, pursuit predators, descended from wolves that formed partnerships with early humans over 40,000 Earth years ago. The relationship had shaped both species. The database showed images that made her optical sensors widen. Wolves bringing down prey animals 3 times their size, dogs guarding human children, ancient human settlements with dog remains buried respectfully alongside human remains. This wasn't just captivity. This was genuine cooperation between 2 species. But it also showed the dangers. Bite incidents, attacks, injuries. The records didn't hide the fact that dogs were still predators, still capable of violence. "We need to operate immediately," Dr. Neva announced. "The infection is spreading. I'm detecting foreign organic compounds in the wound. Possibly plant-based toxins from wherever this injury occurred." Bruno tried to stand, putting weight on his injured leg. He yelped in pain, a sharp sound that made Lucy's face crumble with worry. The dog's legs buckled and he collapsed back onto the floor, panting heavily. "Do whatever you need to do," Lucy said. "Just please help him." Dr. Illa made calculations in her mind. They had 3 options. First, sedate the predator completely and operate while he was unconscious. Safest for the medical team, but the dog's biochemistry was unknown. The wrong sedative could kill him. Second, use restraints, but that would likely cause the predator to panic and struggle, possibly injuring himself further or breaking free. Third, attempt treatment with the human's cooperation. "Ms. Lucy," Dr. Illa said slowly, "would you be willing to help us? To stay with Bruno during the procedure and keep him calm?" Lucy's eyes lit up. "Yes, absolutely. Just tell me what to do." Dr. Neva's scales stood on end. "You want her on the surgical table with the predator? That violates every safety protocol we have." "We don't have a choice," Dr. Illa replied. "Look at him. He trusts her. She's the only thing keeping him calm right now." They moved Bruno to the surgical table using a hovering stretcher. Lucy climbed up beside him, positioning herself near his head. She wrapped her arms around his neck, whispering things that the translator couldn't quite catch. Bruno's tail moved slightly. Just a tiny wag, but it was there. Dr. Neva approached with her surgical arms extended, tools gleaming under the bright lights. Bruno's eyes tracked the movement, and a low rumble started in his chest. His hackles rose, fur standing up along his spine. "Bruno, no," Lucy said firmly, not angry but commanding. "These are friends. They're helping." The rumbling stopped. Bruno's ears drooped and he pressed his face against Lucy's shoulder. Dr. Illa injected local anesthetic around the wound site using a remote delivery system. She half expected the predator to lunge at the sudden sharp pain, but Bruno only whined and tried to twist his head around to see what was happening. "Easy, baby," Lucy murmured. "Just a little pinch. You're being so brave." Dr. Breen monitored the vital signs on his holographic displays. Heart rate elevated but stable. Respiration rapid but controlled. Brainwave patterns indicate high stress but no aggressive intent. "This is remarkable. He's in pain and surrounded by unknown species, but he's not attacking." Dr. Neva began the delicate work of cleaning the wound. Bruno's entire body went rigid. His jaws opened, and for a moment Dr. Illa saw every single tooth clearly. Then Lucy touched his muzzle, gentle but firm, and said something in a low voice. Bruno closed his mouth. He was shaking, whimpering, but he stayed still. "Good boy," Lucy whispered. "Such a good, brave boy." Dr. Illa watched this interaction with growing fascination. The human wasn't controlling the predator through force or fear. She was asking, and somehow impossibly the predator was choosing to comply. Dr. Neva's 6 surgical arms worked with precise movements, each holding a different instrument. One arm cleaned the deep wound while another held the tissue steady. A third arm used a scanner to map the bone fracture in 3 dimensions, and a fourth prepared the material needed to set the break properly. Her remaining 2 arms stayed ready for any emergency. Bruno's breathing came in quick pants, his chest rising and falling rapidly. Pain medication flowed through his system, but the surgery still hurt. Every few seconds his muscles tensed as if preparing to move, to escape, to fight. But each time Lucy's voice brought him back. "I know, buddy. I know it hurts. You're doing so good. Almost done." Dr. Illa monitored everything from her position near the main medical console. Her crystalline structure vibrated softly as she processed what she was witnessing. In all her years of medical practice, she had never seen anything like this. The trust between these 2 beings was absolute. "The fracture is more severe than initial scans indicated," Dr. Neva reported. Her voice remained steady, but her scales shifted through colors that showed her stress. The bone has splintered in 3 places. I need to realign the fragments before I can seal them. Will he be able to walk normally again? Lucy asked. Her arms tightened around Bruno's neck. If the procedure goes well, yes. But this is delicate work. Any sudden movement could cause permanent damage. Dr. Breen's containment suit glowed softly as he adjusted the chemical balance in Bruno's bloodstream. The infection is responding to the antibiotics, but slowly. The toxin in his system is unlike anything in our database. It's breaking down his cellular structure at a microscopic level. Lucy's face went pale. Is he going to be okay? His immune system is fighting it, Dr. Breen said. And it's strong. Very strong. Earth organisms have robust defense mechanisms. But he needs time. Dr. Neva began the most painful part of the procedure. She had to manually move the bone fragments back into alignment. Bruno's entire body jerked. His jaws snapped open and a sharp bark echoed through the medical bay. The sound was loud, aggressive, terrifying. Every security officer's weapon came up. Hold fire, Dr. Illa shouted. Lucy didn't flinch. She turned Bruno's head toward her, looking directly into his eyes. Bruno, look at me. Look at me, baby. Stay, stay. The predator's yellow eyes locked onto Lucy's face. His body was still trembling, still tense with pain and fear. His lips were pulled back from his teeth, but he stopped struggling. He whined, a high sound that seemed too small to come from such a dangerous creature, but he held still. That's my good boy, Lucy whispered. That's my brave boy. Dr. Neva continued working, her movements quick and efficient now. She aligned the bone fragments, checked the positioning with her scanner, and began applying the bioadhesive that would hold everything in place while the bone healed naturally. The adhesive was a Scalian medical innovation, a liquid that hardened into a matrix stronger than bone itself. Minutes passed. Bruno's whimpering grew softer. The pain medication was finally reaching its full effect, dulling the worst of the sensations. Dr. Neva sealed the wound with synthetic skin, a temporary covering that would dissolve as Bruno's own tissue regenerated underneath. Vital signs stabilizing, Dr. Breen announced. Heart rate decreasing, blood pressure returning to normal range, infection markers beginning to decline. I think we can cautiously say the worst is over. Dr. Illa felt the tension drain from her crystalline structure. They had done it. They had successfully operated on an Earth predator without anyone getting hurt. It seemed impossible, but the evidence lay right in front of her on the surgical table. Dr. Neva retracted her surgical arms, the tools folding back into their storage compartments. The procedure is complete. He should regain full mobility in 4 to 6 weeks, provided the leg is properly rested and the infection clears completely. Lucy's eyes filled with water. Dr. Illa knew from her studies that humans produced tears during strong emotional states, both positive and negative. Thank you, Lucy said, her voice thick. Thank you so much. Bruno's tail moved against the table. It wasn't much. Just a slight back-and-forth motion, but Dr. Illa's database identified it immediately. Tail wagging, a sign of positive emotion in canine species. Happiness. The predator was happy. I don't understand, Dr. Breen said, his suit cycling through confused colors. He's injured in a strange place, surrounded by unknown beings. Why would he display happiness? Lucy smiled and scratched behind Bruno's ears. Because I'm here. Because he knows he's safe. That's what family means. That's what this bond is. Dr. Illa approached the table slowly, giving Bruno plenty of time to notice her. The dog's ears swiveled in her direction, tracking her movement. His eyes followed her, alert but not aggressive. She stopped a respectful distance away. Ms. Lucy, I must admit that I didn't believe you earlier. I thought you were underestimating the danger, the way humans often do. But I was wrong. You weren't underestimating anything. You simply understand something that we don't. What's that? Lucy asked. That danger and harm are not the same thing. Bruno is dangerous. He has weapons built into his body, instincts honed by millions of years of evolution, but he chooses not to cause harm. That choice, that control is remarkable. Dr. Neva cleaned her surgical instruments with methodical precision. In Scalian culture, we believe that predators cannot be trusted because they are ruled by instinct. But this creature is not ruled by instinct alone. He has something else, intelligence, loyalty, love, perhaps. Dogs love with their whole hearts, Lucy said. It's who they are. They bonded with humans because they chose to, and we bonded with them for the same reason. The security team lowered their weapons, though they remained alert. The station commander's voice came through the intercom, sounding less tense than before. Medical Bay, what's your status? Do we still have a dangerous situation? Dr. Illa looked at Bruno, who was now resting with his head in Lucy's lap, eyes half closed with exhaustion. No, Commander. The situation is under control. The patient is stable and poses no threat. Understood. Security will remain nearby as a precaution, but I'm reducing the alert level. Good work, doctors. Dr. Breen floated closer to the table, his scientific curiosity overcoming the last of his fear. May I ask you something, Ms. Lucy? How did your species accomplish this? How did humans turn wolves into companions? Lucy thought for a moment, her hand still gently stroking Bruno's head. I don't think we did it alone. I think they wanted it too. We offered food and warmth and protection. They offered the same things back. We both got something we needed. Community, family. Someone who would never leave us alone. Dr. Illa's optical sensors focused on Bruno's face. The predator's eyes were fully closed now, his breathing deep and even. He had fallen asleep, completely relaxed despite being surrounded by aliens in an unknown place. That level of trust seemed impossible, but it was real. 3 days passed since the surgery, and Dr. Illa found herself thinking about Bruno more than any patient she had treated before. She volunteered for the overnight monitoring shift, something she normally avoided because it interfered with her meditation cycle, but she wanted to understand. She needed to understand. The recovery room was quiet except for the soft beeping of medical monitors. Bruno lay on a specialized bed designed to accommodate non-humanoid patients. His injured leg was wrapped in a supportive brace that glowed faintly blue with embedded healing technology. Lucy slept on the floor beside him, one hand stretched through the bars of the safety railing to rest on his fur. Dr. Illa watched them through the observation window. Even in sleep, they maintained contact. Even in vulnerability, they trusted each other completely. It was beautiful in a way she had never expected. Her console chimed softly. Bruno's heart rate had increased slightly. She checked the monitors and saw he was dreaming. His legs twitched in small running motions. His paws flexed. Small sounds came from his throat, not quite barks, but close. The database called it sleep vocalization, common in canine species. Curious, isn't it? Dr. Illa turned to find Dr. Breen floating beside her. His containment suit glowed a soft green, the color he used when feeling contemplative. I've been studying Earth's history with dogs, Dr. Breen continued. The relationship goes back 40,000 years. 40,000. That's longer than most civilizations in the galaxy have existed. Can you imagine? Humans and dogs evolved together, shaped each other, survived together through ice ages and plagues and wars. What did you learn? Dr. Illa asked. That humans didn't just domesticate dogs. Dogs domesticated humans too, in a way. They changed human behavior patterns. Villages with dogs were more successful. Children raised with dogs learned empathy earlier. Humans with dog companions lived longer, healthier lives. The bond wasn't just emotional. It was evolutionary. Dr. Illa pulled up her own research on her holographic display. I've been reading about it as well. Dogs can read human facial expressions better than any other species, even better than human children can. They evolved to understand us. They wanted to understand us. Through the window, Lucy stirred. She opened her eyes, checked on Bruno, and smiled when she saw him sleeping peacefully. Then she noticed the two doctors watching and waved. Dr. Illa waved back, a gesture she had learned from studying human customs. Lucy stood up carefully, not wanting to disturb Bruno, and came out to the observation area. Her hair was messy from sleep and she wore the same clothes from 3 days ago, but she looked happy. How is he? She asked. Excellent progress, Dr. Illa reported. The bone is healing faster than we predicted. The infection has cleared completely. In another week, we can remove the brace and begin physical therapy. That's wonderful news. Lucy looked back through the window at Bruno. I was so scared when he got hurt. We were exploring this beautiful planet with crystal forests, and he stepped on something sharp that broke under his weight. The crystal fragments went deep, and then the plant toxins started spreading. I got him back to the ship as fast as I could, but I didn't know if we'd make it in time. Dr. Breen's suit shifted to yellow with curiosity. You explored dangerous planets with him? Intentionally? Bruno loves exploring, Lucy said with a smile. He gets so excited when we find somewhere new. He runs around sniffing everything, his tail wagging like crazy. Sure, it's risky sometimes, but that's part of life, you know? You can't experience the galaxy if you're too afraid to leave your ship. Dr. Illa thought about her own life. She traveled between medical stations, always in controlled environments, always following protocols. She had seen hundreds of worlds through ship windows but had never actually walked on most of them. Too risky, she had always told herself. Too many variables. Ms. Lucy, Dr. Illa said slowly. May I ask you something personal? Are you not afraid? Bruno is clearly capable of causing harm if he chose to. How do you trust him so completely? Lucy considered the question for a moment. I guess it's because trust has to go both ways. Bruno trusts me to keep him safe, to feed him, to take care of him when he's sick. I trust him to be gentle, to protect me if I need it, to be my friend. We both have to be vulnerable for the relationship to work. That's what makes it real. Dr. Neva arrived for her shift, all 6 of her arms carrying different pieces of equipment. She had taken a special interest in Bruno's case as well. I've been thinking about something, she announced without preamble. Scalian culture doesn't have anything like this human-dog bond. We form family groups based on genetic relation only, but watching you two has made me wonder if we're missing something important. What do you mean? Lucy asked. My offspring are grown now, Dr. Neva explained. They've established their own family groups. My mate passed away 2 years ago. I live alone in my quarters, and I've been alone ever since. I never questioned it before because that's normal for Scalians, but now I wonder if normal is the same as good. Lucy's expression softened with understanding. Are you lonely? Dr. Neva's scales shifted through several colors before settling on a muted blue. I didn't think I was. But after seeing what you have with Bruno, I realized that maybe I am. Maybe we all are. All us species who never learned to bond outside our own kind. Dr. Breen's suit glowed brighter. I've been having similar thoughts. Mythers are solitary by nature. We only come together to share data or merge temporarily for reproduction. But is that really living? Or is it just existing? A sound from the recovery room made them all turn. Bruno was awake. He had lifted his head and was looking around, searching. When his eyes found Lucy through the window, his tail started wagging. Not just a little movement. The whole tail swung back and forth with enthusiasm. Lucy laughed and hurried back into the room. I'm here, baby. I'm right here. Bruno tried to stand, forgetting about his injured leg. He wobbled and started to fall, but Lucy caught him, supporting his weight. Easy, silly dog. You have to rest that leg. But Bruno wasn't interested in resting. He pushed his head against Lucy's chest, his whole body wiggling with happiness. Small sounds came from his throat, somewhere between whines and groans, what the database called excitement vocalizations. He's been asleep for 8 hours, Dr. Breen observed, and yet he greets her as if she's been gone for weeks. That intensity of emotion over such a short separation is remarkable. Dr. Illa watched Lucy hug Bruno, watched the dog lean into her embrace. Something shifted in her crystalline structure, a vibration that felt almost like longing. It's not just remarkable, she said quietly. It's what we're missing. All of us. That moment changed something in Dr. Illa's understanding of the universe. She had always believed intelligence was about logic, about processing information efficiently, about making rational decisions. But watching this human and this predator, she realized intelligence could also be about connection, about choosing to care for someone different from yourself, about finding joy in companionship. Word spread through station harmony faster than light through empty space. The human and her predator became the subject of every conversation in every cantina, every break room, every social gathering. Most of the stories were exaggerated, but the core truth remained. A Deathworld predator was living in the medical bay, and somehow nobody had died. Dr. Illa received requests from over 30 different species asking to observe Bruno. Scientists wanted to study the human-dog bond. Behaviorists wanted to understand the training methods. Even a few brave civilians wanted to simply see the creature with their own eyes. After consulting with Lucy, Dr. Illa established visiting hours. The first visitor was Dr. Wren, a Pelothian who worked in the station's botanical research department. He stood barely half a meter tall, covered in soft gray fur with large eyes and long ears that drooped when he was nervous, which was most of the time. Dr. Illa met him outside the recovery room. Are you certain about this, Dr. Wren? There's no pressure to participate. Dr. Wren's ears twitched. I've studied Earth predators extensively in my research. I know the statistics about prey drive in canines, but I also know that knowledge without experience is incomplete. I need to see for myself. Inside the room, Bruno was sitting up on his bed wearing his mobility brace. Lucy sat beside him, one hand resting on his back. When Dr. Wren entered, Bruno's ears immediately perked up. His head turned, tracking the small creature's movement. His nostrils flared, processing scents. Dr. Wren froze. Every instinct in his Pelothian biology screamed at him to run. Bruno was looking at him the way predators looked at prey. Focused, intent, calculating. "It's okay," Lucy said gently. "Bruno, this is Dr. Wren. He's a friend." "Friend Bruno." Bruno's tail began to wag slowly. He tilted his head to one side, an expression that somehow made him look less threatening and more curious. "May I approach?" Dr. Wren asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Come slowly," Lucy instructed. "Let him see you clearly. Dogs have excellent hearing and smell, so he already knows you're here. Now he just needs to learn you're safe." Dr. Wren took one small step forward, then another. His long ears were flat against his head, his body low to the ground. To Bruno, this probably looked like submissive behavior. The dog remained sitting, watching but not moving. When Dr. Wren was about 2 meters away, Lucy spoke again. "Bruno, gentle." Bruno immediately lowered himself into a lying position, his head resting on his front paws. He made himself smaller, less threatening. His tail continued its slow wag. "He's trying not to scare you," Lucy explained. "Dogs are smart enough to recognize when someone is afraid. Good dogs try to be less scary." Dr. Wren crept closer. 1 meter away. Half a meter. Close enough to see the individual hairs in Bruno's fur. Close enough to hear each breath. Close enough that if Bruno wanted to, one quick movement would be all it took. "You can touch him if you want," Lucy offered. "Just move slowly and let him sniff your hand first." Dr. Wren extended one small paw, trembling. Bruno lifted his head slightly, his nose reaching forward to investigate. The dog's nostrils worked, taking in information that Dr. Wren couldn't imagine. Then Bruno's tongue came out and he licked Dr. Wren's paw. The Pelothian jumped back, startled. But then he looked at his paw, damp with saliva, and realized what had happened. "He tasted me?" "He licked you," Lucy corrected with a smile. "That's how dogs show affection. He likes you." Dr. Wren stared at Bruno, who was now sitting up again, tail wagging faster. The predator's mouth was open in what the database called a play face, tongue hanging out to one side. He looked almost like he was smiling. Slowly, carefully, Dr. Wren reached out again. This time he touched Bruno's head. The fur was soft, warm, alive with the heat of a working body. Bruno's tail wagged even faster and he leaned into the touch. "Remarkable," Dr. Wren breathed. "He's warm. I can feel his heartbeat through his fur. He's so alive." Dr. Neva and Dr. Breen entered the room, having watched the entire interaction from the observation area. Dr. Neva's scales showed excited yellow patterns. "Dr. Wren, you actually touched him. You touched an Earth predator." "I did more than that," Dr. Wren said, his voice filled with wonder. "I made a friend." Over the following days, more visitors came. A trader from the Centauri Collective, who had heard stories about Earth dogs and wanted to see one. A family of Danebians with 3 children who watched in amazement as Bruno gently accepted their careful pets. An elderly Arcturian professor who had studied interspecies relationships for decades and declared Bruno the most significant example she had ever encountered. Each visitor left changed in some small way. Some were just satisfied they had seen an Earth predator and survived. Others experienced something deeper, a glimpse of what connection across species barriers could look like. But the most significant visit came from a cargo hauler captain named Grig. He was a Kelvin, an insectoid species with compound eyes and chitinous plating. He had been injured during a loading accident, his third arm badly crushed. Dr. Neva had scheduled him for surgery the following day. Grig arrived for his pre-surgery consultation and stopped dead when he saw Bruno in the recovery room. His antennae went rigid with alarm. "There's a predator in the medical bay?" "His name is Bruno," Dr. Illa said calmly. "He's a patient just like you'll be tomorrow. I can't have surgery here. Not with that thing present. My species has genetic memory of predation. Being near predators causes severe stress responses." Lucy overheard the conversation and came out of Bruno's room. "I understand you're afraid. But what if I showed you that Bruno is safe? Would that help?" Grig's antennae twitched uncertainly. "I don't see how." "Watch." Lucy went back into the room and called Bruno over. The dog limped to her, his mobility brace making quiet mechanical sounds. Lucy went through a series of commands. Bruno, sit. Good boy, now lie down. Roll over, stay, come. Bruno performed each command without hesitation. Lucy then placed a treat on the floor directly in front of Bruno's nose and said, Wait. The dog stared at the treat, clearly wanting it but didn't move. After 10 seconds, Lucy said, Okay. Bruno ate the treat, do you see? Lucy said to Greg. He has complete control over his instincts. He doesn't act on every impulse. He listens, he thinks, he chooses. Greg watched through the glass, his fear gradually being replaced by fascination. You're saying that Predator obeys commands? Voluntarily? Not just commands, Lucy explained. He understands concepts. He knows the difference between friend and threat. He knows when to be gentle and when to be protective. He's not just a bundle of instincts. He's a person in his own way, Dr. Breen added. We've been monitoring his brain activity during these interactions. The patterns show complex decision-making processes. He's not simply responding to stimuli. He's evaluating situations and choosing appropriate responses. Greg was quiet for a long moment. Then he made a decision. I would like to meet him. Properly meet him. 2 weeks after Bruno's surgery, Dr. Illa stood in her office reviewing the most unusual report she had ever written. The title read, Interspecies Bonding and Medical Cooperation, a Case Study of Human-Canine Relations. She had submitted it to the Galactic Medical Journal, and the response had been overwhelming. Requests for presentations, invitations to conferences, questions from researchers across the galaxy. But the report was just data. What mattered more was what had changed in the hearts of everyone who had met Bruno. Dr. Neva entered the office, her scales showing content blue patterns. I wanted to tell you before I submit my formal request. I'm applying to visit Earth. I want to learn more about animal companionship. I'm thinking about adopting a creature when I return. Dr. Illa's optical sensors brightened with approval. That's wonderful, Dr. Neva. What kind of companion are you considering? Something smaller than Bruno, Dr. Neva said with a laugh. Perhaps one of the Earth cats. I've read they're independent but affectionate. That might suit a Scalian temperament. Dr. Breen floated in through the open door, his containment suit glowing excited yellow. Have you heard the news? The station commander approved a trial program. Humans traveling through Station Harmony can now bring their companion animals. We're setting up proper facilities, quarantine protocols, everything needed to make it safe. That's a significant policy change, Dr. Illa observed. What convinced the commander? Greg's surgery, Dr. Breen replied. Remember how terrified he was? But Lucy brought Bruno into the surgical room during the procedure. Just having the dog lying nearby, breathing steadily, somehow calmed Greg down. His stress hormones dropped by 40%. The surgery went faster than expected with fewer complications. The commander couldn't argue with results like that. Dr. Illa remembered watching that surgery. Greg had been paralyzed with fear initially, but Lucy had walked Bruno right up to the surgical table and given the command for him to lie down and stay. Bruno had settled onto the floor, resting his head on his paws, and simply existed as a calm presence. Something about the dog's peaceful breathing, his steady heartbeat, had soothed the Kelvin's ancient prey instincts. The implications are fascinating, Dr. Breen continued. If a predator's presence can be calming rather than frightening, what else have we been wrong about? What other assumptions about Deathworld species need to be reconsidered? A chime from Dr. Illa's console announced visitors. Lucy and Bruno appeared on the security feed, approaching the medical bay. Bruno was walking without his brace now, only a slight hitch in his step showing where the injury had been. Dr. Illa went to meet them. Over the past 2 weeks, she had spent hours with Lucy and Bruno, learning about Earth customs, about human history, about the thousands of ways humans and dogs had worked together. She had learned that dogs guided humans who couldn't see, warned humans about medical emergencies before they happened, helped human children learn to read, and provided comfort to humans suffering from mental illness. The relationship was so much deeper than she had imagined. Dr. Illa. Lucy's face showed happiness. We're here for Bruno's final checkup. And to say goodbye. Our ship is ready to depart tomorrow. Goodbye. Dr. Illa felt an unfamiliar sensation in her crystalline structure. Sadness. She had grown attached to these two, to their presence, to the lessons they had taught without meaning to. She conducted the examination with careful attention. Bruno's leg had healed perfectly. The bone was strong, the muscle tone was returning, and there was no sign of infection. "You're completely healthy," she told Bruno, even though she knew he couldn't understand her words. But his tail wagged anyway, responding to her pleased tone. Dr. Neva and Dr. Breen joined them for a small farewell gathering. Dr. Wren came too, bringing a gift. He had carved a small wooden toy in the shape of a bone, using techniques from his homeworld. "For Bruno," he said shyly, "to remember us by." Lucy took the gift with genuine appreciation. "That's so thoughtful, Dr. Wren, thank you." She gave the toy to Bruno, who immediately began chewing on it with enthusiasm. Everyone laughed. "I have something as well," Dr. Neva said. She presented a collar, but not just any collar. It was embedded with advanced monitoring technology. It tracks vital signs, environmental hazards, and emergency beacon capabilities. If Bruno is ever injured again, this will alert nearby medical facilities immediately. "And from me," Dr. Breen added, his suit glowing warm orange, "a complete medical file in the standard galactic format. Every doctor in the galaxy can now access Bruno's health history, blood type, medication tolerances, everything needed to treat him properly." Lucy's eyes filled with tears. Happy tears Dr. Illa had learned to recognize. "You've all been so kind. When we arrived, you were terrified of Bruno, and now you're giving him gifts. You're treating him like a person." "He is a person," Dr. Illa said simply. "Perhaps not in the way we traditionally define it, but he has thoughts, feelings, relationships. He matters, and you both have changed how we see the universe." Lucy wiped her eyes. "How so?" Dr. Illa chose her words carefully. "Before you arrived, I believed that intelligence meant logic and efficiency. I thought connections across species were illogical, potentially dangerous. But you showed us something else. You showed us that intelligence can also mean choosing compassion over fear, choosing trust over safety, choosing to love something different from yourself. That's not weakness. That's strength," Dr. Neva added. "And you showed us that we don't have to be alone. We thought our ways were normal, that isolation and careful distance were necessary. But maybe necessary isn't the same as good. Maybe we've been missing something important." "We Mythers exist primarily as individuals," Dr. Breen said. "We merge temporarily for reproduction and data sharing, but we don't form lasting bonds. Watching you and Bruno made me realize that perhaps we're not living as fully as we could. Perhaps there's more to existence than processing information efficiently." Dr. Wren, usually so quiet, spoke up. "I've contacted Earth about their companion animal programs. Several Pelothians on my homeworld are interested in trying this bonding experiment. We're naturally fearful, but maybe that's exactly why we need this. Maybe having a friend who's different from us will help us be braver." Lucy looked around at all of them, these alien beings who had been so afraid just weeks ago. "Bruno didn't change you," she said softly. "You changed yourselves. You chose to look past your fear and see the truth. That took courage." Bruno, oblivious to the emotional conversation, rolled onto his back with his legs in the air, asking for belly rubs. Lucy laughed and obliged, and soon Dr. Wren was brave enough to join in, his small paws scratching Bruno's chest. The dog's tail wagged so hard his entire body wiggled. "This is what we're missing," Dr. Illa said, watching the scene. "This joy. This simple, uncomplicated happiness of being together." The next day, Dr. Illa stood at the observation deck and watched Lucy's ship prepare for departure. Through the viewport, she could see Bruno in the ship's window, his nose pressed against the glass. Lucy stood beside him, waving. Dr. Illa raised one crystalline hand and waved back. As the ship pulled away and accelerated toward the jump gate, Dr. Illa thought about everything that had changed. The medical bay had new protocols for treating Earth animals. The station had new policies about companion species. 3 different research teams were studying interspecies bonding, and personally she had been fundamentally changed by meeting a human and her dog. Dr. Breen floated up beside her. "I've been thinking about adopting a companion," he announced. "Perhaps something that can exist in my containment suit with me. A fish, maybe. Something aquatic." Dr. Neva approached from the other side. "I've booked passage to Earth next month. I want to visit what they call animal shelters, places where creatures wait for someone to choose them, to take them home. The concept fascinates me." Dr. Wren was there too, his long ears perked up with excitement. My government approved a cultural exchange program. We're bringing dogs to my homeworld, trained dogs who can help Pelothians overcome their anxiety disorders. It's revolutionary. Dr. Illa looked at her colleagues, these beings she had worked with for years but never truly connected with until now. We should stay in touch, share our experiences, learn from each other. They all agreed, and Dr. Illa realized that Bruno and Lucy had given them more than just knowledge about human-dog bonds. They had shown them how to form bonds themselves, how to be vulnerable, how to trust. The station went back to its normal routines, but nothing was quite the same. In the medical bay, Lucy had left the wooden toy that Dr. Wren had made. Dr. Illa kept it on her desk, a reminder of the Earth dog who had been so much more than a predator, and the human who had shown them all what connection really meant.